Hey, what's up guys? Bestinwest here, and thank you for coming back to watch part 2 of my SF Tempest Cup. If you didn't watch the first part, I'll leave the link in like right here or something. But anyways, thank you for being patient and waiting for this second video, this part 2 of my Tempest Cup. It takes a little while to edit this video, so if you guys could do me a favor, make sure you like this video and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers within the next month or so. So if you guys can help me out, that would help me out a lot. But yeah, let's get to the footage. Okay, so I'm here with Los Impsons, and it's round 3. And are you 2-0 as well? Okay, so we're both undefeated so far, so we'll see. It's starting to get into the nitty-gritty and see who really outdoes the other person, so this should be a good match. Let's get to it. Okay, so taking a look at his team, I see that he has a very balanced team. We pretty much have the same team, except I have a Abomasnow instead of his Tropius. I have a Lapras instead of his Celio. And for what I'm going to call a flex spot, he has a Quagsire instead of my Steelix. Now, I don't really see huge weaknesses. I do know that I'm going to use Lantern because it covers 4 of his 6 Pokemon in terms of it'll do neutral, or it's a neutral matchup, or it has a positive matchup. I also really like Altaria because even in losing matchups, it'll do a good amount of damage, and a negative matchup for Altaria right here would be Celio. So I feel like, and Skarmory. So in those 2 matchups, I feel like Altaria can still do a lot of damage. And I end up bringing Lapras. Lapras is another very pretty tanky Pokemon that can do a lot of damage even in negative matchups. In this case, a negative matchup would be against Tropius and Lantern. If I have shields, then Lapras can do a good amount of damage to both those. So yeah, let's see how it goes. So let's get right into it. I lead off with Lantern. He leads off with Celio. Perfect matchup for me. It's a positive matchup, and so it's going to force him to switch right out into Quagsire. Now, with Quagsire, I feel like I have a good matchup, but he's doing a lot of damage, so I'm going to go ahead and switch into Altaria. He gets an Earthquake off. I shield it thinking it's a Stone Edge, but it's okay. I still have a pretty good matchup here. He's going to get another charge move off, Stone Edge this time. I'm going to block it, otherwise it's going to deal a lot of super effective damage to me. I get the Sky Attack off. He decides to block it. Now I should be able to fast attack him down. I have no more shields, so he's gonna get Stone Edge, but like again, Quagsire doesn't get stab on that, so I was able to tank it. He's gonna send out Celio. It's gonna deal super effective damage to me, but I am gonna get the Sky Attack off, and he has one more shield. He decided to save it. He's gonna go ahead and get this Body Slam off. That's great for me because now I can send in Lantern. Lantern was the matchup he switched out of initially, and I get this Thunderbolt, burning his last shield. He's going to switch out into Altaria. A bad matchup for me, but I have a Lapras. Lapras is a great matchup against Altaria. It pretty much directly counters it. He goes ahead and gets Dragon Pulse off. I'm going to get Ice Beam off because he has no more shields. I actually probably could have used Surf because he had such little health, but I go ahead and do that. Now, any damage that Lapras does to Celio is a bonus, but it's pretty much nothing. He goes ahead and uses Body Slam. I send in my Lantern, get this Thunderbolt off, and this pretty much ends the round. Alright, GG man. Alright, so that was round 1. I pulled it off. I think it was just a bad matchup for you in the first one. I got the switch advantage, and it was just kind of hard to overcome that switch advantage, and I was able to pull that off. But round 2, let's get it. Okay, so going into the second match, I knew he knew that I used 2 water Pokemon the last match, so I felt that he was going to try to counter that hard with Tropius. So with that in mind, I decided to make sure I counter Tropius. So the two Pokemon that I used to do that are my SNOW-BAMA and Skarmory. So those two Pokemon will counter Tropius positively. Like, I will win those matchups in even shield situations. And I decided to bring in Lantern. It's been my MVP so far, so I'm going to stick with it. I lead with SNOW-BAMA. I didn't learn my lesson, but the results end up a little differently this time. Let's take a look. Getting right into the match, I'm going to go ahead and lead off with my SNOW-BAMA. He leads off with Tropius. Now, he probably thinks he has an advantage here, so if he didn't prepare, he may not know that SNOW-BAMA beats Tropius in an even shields matchup. So I'm going to get this outrage off. He's going to block it. Now, I'm doing double super effective damage to him with my Powder Snow. He's going to get this aerial ace off. I'm going to block it as well. I'm going to get my second outrage off, and he's going to block this. He's going to go back and forth some more. He's going to get another charge move off. I decide to save my shield. He uses Leaf Blade, not very effective, but I feint. I send out my Skarmory, one fast attack, and his Tropius goes down. He sends out Quagsire. Now, this is a pretty even matchup, I think. Maybe a little bit in my favor, especially since I have that shield. So I get a Sky Attack off. Decides not to block that. I decide to block the Stone Edge because I felt like I'm going to need my Skarmory. I don't know why. It was just a feeling. He's going to get another Stone Edge off. But again, Stone Edge is doing neutral damage to me. And Quagsire does not have stab on that Stone Edge. So I'm going to get my other Sky Attack off. Knock out Quag. I probably should have tried to save that charge move, but it's okay. He sends out Altaria. I get the Sky Attack off. He's probably going to knock out my Skarmory right here with his Sky Attack, which is exactly what he does. I send out Lantern, which is usually a negative matchup, but Altaria is already half health, so this Thunderbolt should do a good amount of damage.
Alright, man. GG. Alright, so that was the third round. I pulled it off. I think it was just, again, I was able to get that first one, and I got the shield advantage, and that was that's what got me. All right, GG, man. Good luck with the rest of the tournament. Okay, I'm here with FE Fates Shiro.
Fates Shiro.
FE Fates Shiro. One, and this is round 4, and we're about to get it going. Are you 3-0 as well, or?
I did participate in 3 battles, but I lost one.
Okay, so you're 2-1. So he's 2-1. I'm 3-0, and we'll see how this goes. Good luck.
Looking at his team, I noticed one thing right off the bat is that he has a Charizard. So Charizard's a Pokemon that is kind of a really big glass cannon. I used to have it before, and I didn't like that about it. It makes it so that games are more swingy than I'd like them to be. I like them to be a little bit more drawn out and a little bit more strategy based. Charizard can swing matches very fast. Either like you lose faster or you win faster. But anyways, that's something that I noticed. Looking at the rest of his team, I noticed that most of his team will lose against Altaria. Charizard, Lantern, Tropius, Whiscash will all fall to Altaria. As long as Altaria does not fall for the Blizzard from Whiscash, then it should be good. Now, for the other Pokemon, such as Altaria itself and Celio, I feel like Celio I can deal with Lantern, and Lantern can also deal with Charizard, and go toe-to-toe with Whiscash somewhat. Well, it won't win against Whiscash, but it'll do a decent amount of damage, so I go with Lantern, and I just go with another flying type because in Skarmory, because it can defeat Tropius, Altaria, Whiscash, and Celio. So that's the team I go with, and again, I lead with Lantern. I just really like leading with Lantern because it has good bulk and it can take some damage, and I can always switch into Altaria, which is like my safe switch for this this match at least. So let's see the footage. Okay, moving right along into the battle, I lead off with Lantern. He leads off with Charizard, a great matchup for me. So I'm just gonna Water Gun. He's gonna probably switch. Yep, he switches over to Whiscash, which is a good matchup for him. But I get this Thunderbolt off. I try to bait that shield, but he doesn't take it. It still does a decent amount of damage, not as much as it normally would, but that's okay. I go ahead and switch to Altaria right as he gets his Mud Bomb off, so that does not very effective damage. He gets another charge move off. I'm afraid that's Blizzard. Blizzard will knock me out, so I go ahead and block that. He baited that shield. Um, I go ahead and knock out Whiscash just in time, and I have a Sky Attack charged up. So he sends out Charizard. He has a charge move already. Dragon Claw does a good amount of damage, but I wanted to save my shield, so I get the Sky Attack off. He blocks that. He has one more shield still. We both have one shield. And he gets another charge move off, and I decided not to block this, just because I wanted to save those shields. I send out Lantern, and instantly knocks out his Charizard, so it's a Lantern mirror match. We both have Water Gun, so this is fine. I had the energy built up already. He still has one shield. I go ahead and get that Thunderbolt off. He decides to let that go. I decide to shield this one because I need my Lantern. Lantern is, I know I have Skarmory left, and Skarmory will not do well against Lantern, so I want to be able to pretty much knock out his Lantern if I can. Unfortunately, right here, as you can see, he gets this Thunderbolt off and knocks out my Lantern. Luckily, his Lantern does not have too much health left, and I get this Sky Attack off. And luckily, I got it off before he was able to get his Thunderbolt off. So that was actually a really close matchup. And if he would have gotten a Thunderbolt off, I don't know if I would have been able to survive that. But luckily, I pulled it off. My Lantern did the right amount of damage for my Skarmory to come and clean up. Now, for this next match, I decided to switch it up a little bit. Instead of Skarmory, I bring in Lapras. The reason why I bring in Lapras is because the Whiscash, I'll be able to do a decent amount of damage to Whiscash. With Surf, I can do a good amount of damage to Charizard. With Ice Shard, I'll be able to deal with both Altaria and Tropius, even though Tropius will deal tons of damage to me. And win that matchup, at least I can deal. I'll leave that Tropius bloodied if it does stay in. So I lead off with Lantern again, and I bring in Altaria and Tropius. I'm sorry, Altaria and Lapras. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so getting right into the battle, I lead off with Altaria. He leads with Celio. This is a bad matchup for me, but I want to get a few Dragon Breaths in because it does deal neutral damage to him. I want to see if this Sky Attack will actually hit him, or if he decides to block. So he decides to block, I switch right away. I switch into Lapras. I don't know why exactly I switched into Lapras, but I switched into Lapras. He switched into Lantern. Now, as long as I block his Thunderbolts, I should be able to last a good amount of time and deal decent damage to Lantern, or at least stall long enough that I can switch in another Pokemon, because his water guns aren't dealing that much damage to me. And so I get my second Surf off. He decides not to shield that one. He's probably going to get another Thunderbolt off. No, actually, I get my Surf off. So if he does not shield this, which he does, it would have knocked him out. He gets another Thunderbolt off, and I go ahead and shield that. So I use both my shields. He also has no shields because he blocked my first Sky Attack, and I have a Lapras with Surf. So he's going to send out his Celio. Now, whatever damage I do is great if I can get any damage off. So I get the Surf, not very effective damage, but
Not too bad either. He's gonna get this body slam off. I have no more shields. No, he uses Aurora Beam, which is kind of surprising, but because I'm double resistant to it, maybe he misclicked. I get another surf off. I at this point I just decide to keep my Lapras in and just let it faint. So I'm gonna bring in Lantern, I believe. Yep, I bring in Lantern. He has nothing that can really hurt me too bad. He's gonna body slam me, but I rarely. No, Aurora Beam again. Actually, I'm starting to think if he even has a second move, or if he even has body slam on it. But anyways, I go ahead and have
GG.
Just got unlucky.
Yeah, you got unlucky with a couple of matchups, and yeah, but it's all good, man. As long as we have fun, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for the games.
Props.
That was the fourth round. On to the fifth one. I think this is gonna be the final round, and I'm going in undefeated right now. See how it goes. All right, man. Good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Yep, you too.
So I'm here with George Lee, and my record's 4-0. Was
4-0.
What's your record?
I forgot.
You forgot. It's okay. But this is gonna be round 5. This is the last round of the tournament, I think. So hopefully I pull this off, and hopefully I can win this tournament. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so.
I hope you don't win.
Of course.
How many times did you win?
4.
Oh, you do.
Oh, you're 4-0?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the championship. Whoever wins this wins. Yeah. Whoever wins this is gonna win.
Let's take a look at his team. So first thing I noticed is Magneton. And if you're going to use Magneton in this tournament, it's most likely going to be double Legacy. He has a very interesting team composition, and it's surprisingly balanced, and that's probably why he's in the finals with me right now. But anyways, what Pokemon do I choose to go up against his team? So first off, I go ahead and put in Lantern. Lantern has been my MVP for most of the tournament. So I go ahead and bring Lantern. It counters Charizard, Magneton, neutral with Lantern, positive matchup against Lapras, can do a good amount of damage against Quagsire. So Lantern for sure. Other one is Altaria, can counter Tropius, Lantern, Charizard, and can probably beat Quagsire. And then we have Lapras. Why Lapras? It's because that Charizard and that Magneton, I wanted to be able to do neutral damage to them, and also it can do a good amount of damage to his Lapras and Quagsire. And as you saw in the last round, that Lapras can do a good amount of damage to Lantern if you use shields correctly. So with that being said, let's get to the footage. Let's get into the battle. I'm going to lead off with Lantern. He leads off with Lapras, and so there's a positive matchup for me. But he keeps his Lapras in. Something that's pretty interesting, and a interesting technique that I didn't see before, was that because he knows that his Lapras is going to receive not very effective damage from my water guns, he's going to charge his Lapras and then switch out. But he's going to switch out into Magneton, and I'm going to use Thunderbolt. And Magneton is super squishy, so even though that's not very effective damage, that did almost half his health. So Magneton is going to get this discharge off, and I'm going to block it because I want to preserve my Lantern, because it does good damage to most of his team. So he's going to send out Tropius, and I'm going to get this Thunderbolt off, and it's going to do neutral damage, almost half his damage, but he's going to finish off my Lantern. I'm going to switch into Altaria, which is a positive matchup for me. This is a great matchup for me. He's going to get this Aerial Ace off, and I decided not to block it because I feel like I'm going to need that shield later. So he switches to Lapras, and I know that his Lapras has a bunch of energy charged up, and he used Ice Beam. I try to get my Sky Attack off as soon as I can. He decides to block that one. Now I'm trying to get my Sky Attack off, but that saved energy from before allowed him to get this Ice Beam off. Knocks out my Altaria. I send in my Lapras, so it's a mirror match now.
He's going to get his first charge move off first. I decide not to shield this. I go ahead and use my Surf, and that pretty much knocks him out. Right here, he has a Tropius left. I'm going to deal super effective damage with my Ice Charge.
Oh, that was really close. That was really close.
Yes.
All right, so for first match, I pulled it off. He had a Tropius come in, though, at the last seconds against my Lapras. That if your Tropius had a little bit more health, it would have been over, but luckily I was able to pull it off. Fortunately, right? Fortunately.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a crazy close matchup, and I can see why he made it to the finals now. But pretty much picking the lineup for the second match, I felt like my Lantern posed a good amount of problems for him. So I was expecting him to bring in Tropius. So to counter Tropius lead, I go ahead and lead with my Altaria, and I don't change my team composition, my lineup composition, so I end up bringing Lantern and Lapras again. I felt like they did a good job countering the majority of his team. Even if he brought in Charizard or something, like they'd be able to do good damage to the rest of his team. So no changes. Let's see how it goes. Let's get into the battle. So I go ahead and lead off with Altaria. He leads off with Magneton. This is a bad matchup for me. So I'm going to get some Dragon Breaths off and switch to Lantern. So because I think he was attacking Altaria, I decide not to block because Magnet Bomb does not do very effective damage to me. He switches to Lapras, and he's telling me that that was a mistake. And that he didn't mean to do it, but I said, oh, I'm sorry, man, there's nothing I can do. It wasn't a technical difficulty. So I get that Thunderbolt off on Lapras, and he's going to get this charge move. And it's Ice Beam. I knew it was going to be not very effective damage, but I think at that point he was just trying to do as much damage as he could before his Lapras fainted. He sends out Quagsire, which does super effective damage to me, but I get this Thunderbolt off before he knocks me out. With his fast attacks, but but I get my another Thunderbolt off, so that's just a plus for me. He decides to block that, and knocks out my Lantern. So now I'm deciding which Pokemon I should send in. I go ahead and send out Lapras. He's gonna get a Stone Edge off, and I decide to block that because it would have been super effective damage. But he had enough energy stored up to get off another Stone Edge, so I blocked that one too. I get this Surf off, and it should do a good amount of neutral damage to this Quagsire, but he blocks it because he saved it from that mistake earlier. So he gets another Stone Edge off and does super effective damage to me, but it doesn't have Stab, so my Lapras survives. He sends it Magneton, and I get Surf off pretty much right away, and
Damn.
Yeah, like you misclick. I don't think we can restart if you misclick.
So the only times you can restart are if there is a technical difficulty.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
like, there's a UI bug, disconnect, that kind
I
of
think
stuff.
I could win this time.
All right. Well, good game.
Thank you so much.
So that was round 5. I ended up winning that one. It was close. His mistake, I think, kind of cost him, but we won't know. But let's add friends. We can battle and practice. Yeah. I know, it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you, man.
Thank
really
you.
Good game.
Good game.
All right, guys. So that was my experience at the Tempest Cup, hosted by SF POGO Raids. It was held at Yerba Buena Gardens on a beautiful day at the Shaking Man Gym. And I'm going to leave a picture right here of me awkwardly shaking the Shaking Man himself. It's actually a statue of like some weird hand gesture things. But I'm also awkwardly doing some kind of squat thing. I don't even know what to call it. But it was a fun time. I got to meet a lot of really cool people. And I'm just glad that I got that win. Because if he didn't make that mistake, I'm not sure if I would have won that match. But if you guys could help me out, if you guys enjoyed this content, make sure you like this video and go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. I'm going to try out to get out more content, and it would help me out a lot. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, Until next time, guys, this is Bestinwest. I'll catch you guys later.